Talk a little bit about what happens to most small businesses after a cybersecurity incident.
Well, shoot, after a cybersecurity incident, I would say small businesses, they need to buy new computers. It's not worth it to try and fix what you got. Then you need to restore from backup, restore all your data from backup, because your data is likely compromised in one way or another. It's either encrypted or it's corrupt. I wouldn't trust it, right? So you might have to go back to yesterday's backup, last week's backup, last month's backup. Got to make sure that you're not restoring a virus either. What if you got that virus last week? So while people can always purchase a new computer, can they get the good back? Can they get their data restored properly? That's what I see mostly.
So what are some of the processes that people can use to try to keep from having a cybersecurity incident?
Well, first and foremost, I think we need to identify what's trusted and what's untrusted. You look at a trusted network versus an untrusted network, and you need to put a firewall in between. You need to say this stuff is trusted, it's mine, I need to protect it. After that, we need to make sure that all of our devices have an antivirus application on it. Up to date, it's hopefully scanning our emails. Hopefully it's doing a little more than just searching for antivirus, right? The ones modern day antivirus applications are pretty good.
Well, you say devices, so that you're talking about my iPad and my cell phone as well as all my laptops and desktops and servers.
Well, there's a few tricks there with when you get to iPads, there's things that are different than an antivirus application. There's applications out there that allow you to only install what the business wants you to install. You're not going to install games or things of that nature. You're going to keep it business focused, and it's going to be controlled by an administrator. When you get to your phone and things, those are a little different. It's all about the browser when it comes to that, and when you're surfing the internet. Ad blockers are wonderful.
So if we've got people who are running around using mobile devices, then you're able to both network those, but also keep them safe.
Correct.
And then what about this idea of multi-factor authentication? It's a pain. I hate using it.
Well, if your bank says you should use it, I think we should use it. Yeah, multi-factor authentication makes sure that you are who you say you are. You can put in your username and your password, but almost anybody can get that because you might have used it more than once. Anyhow, when you get that confirmation via your cell phone, that authorizes you to say who you are, that you are who you say you are.
Gotcha. So that seems like a training issue about how people should be using the pieces of technology.
Sure, we want to, as business owners, want to empower your employees to recognize some of those issues. You want to let them know, say, no, this is a trusted network, this is an untrusted network. This is a phishing email, this is not a phishing email. How do they know when they get an invoice? Should I pay that invoice or is that junk? Phishing, what about it? Do we want to talk to this person or not? Cybersecurity training, awareness training is out there for us. We need to enroll in it. It's probably only 2 hours a quarter or something. It's very doable, and there's a lot of education in it. Hopefully you can start recognizing things like phishing email, those bad invoices that come in. We can look at the headers inside of emails and say, that person isn't who they say they are. I don't trust it, blocked forever.
How did you develop the cybersecurity awareness training?
Well, just looking at what everyone does, meaning employees who come on, new employees is mainly where it's at. And you watch how they act, and they want to bring everything to their boss, their manager, and they say, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this. Well, of course, the management can't handle that. We need people to be empowered and say, look, I can block this on my own. So it should be part of the onboarding process, in my opinion.
And how long does it usually take a new staff person to go through your cybersecurity awareness training?
Oh, it's probably about 2 hours a quarter. I mean, and you can stretch it out over a quarter. It's not a 2-hour period that you need to sit down with. Although some companies do like to do that on like the first day they start. Let's have them do this. And then say over the next month, well, I'm probably not supposed to say this, but we'll send them a fake email and see if they respond to it, right?
Okay, so
We
you're
kind of grade them there. Maybe it's an
that's
Apple update.
all right. So then, inside that cybersecurity awareness training, you're working to have some key points on what they should be looking for, and then how to partition things out if it looks suspicious.
You have to identify actually what it is and how would you categorize it. Those are some things. Whoa, is that looking like a virus? Is this person just throwing an ad at me and trying to get me to bite? How severe is it?
And you talk about how to manage downloads also.
Got to be careful of those, of course. Ideally, those should be restricted and watched carefully over by an administrator, but it's not always the ideal situation.
What about what should business owners be looking for when they're looking for tools and backup and restore policies? How do they make those decisions?
Well, what's your data worth? That's the question you need to ask. If it's really important, you need to back up daily. I mean, if it's even more important than that, there's maybe twice a day you need to back up. Once at noon, once in the morning, once at night. I'm not sure. This is all up to the business. Each business needs to make that decision. How important is your data? Then maybe it's only weekly. Maybe you only do transactions weekly. It's definitely a small business owner question.
Do you have some standard practices that you recommend around that?
We definitely back up daily. The reason is, what if you've received a virus and it didn't really it didn't really take action until that one day? You go back to yesterday's and you restore to yesterday's backup. And guess what? You still have a virus. That's no good. You may have to go a week back, 2 weeks back. Those are some things to think about. And that's why you should have multiple backups.
That's something I haven't thought about, is that you could restore the virus and then you haven't really solved anything.
Yeah. And sometimes those viruses do. They're like sleepers. They sleep in there for a minute for that exact reason.
Well, the fact that 60% of small businesses go out of business after cybersecurity incident really kind of mandates that everybody needs to have a policy and procedure process, right?
Oh, definitely. Also, you got to practice restoring. You got to restore that backup. You got to know that it wasn't corrupt, that it finished 100%. Some of these things happen all the time because these are just backups are usually set on an automatic schedule. What if something happened? That's why we want to practice restoring them.
Makes a lot of sense. Any other things around data and data security?
Well, I'm not sure if we mentioned the importance. Well, we can always buy a new computer, but we can't always get our data back. So we have to think about that and how important is that data and how important is the downtime. Downtime to our business is what really kills you. Usually we can afford to buy a new server, a new workstation, but can we afford to be without that data? How are you going to send an invoice?
All right. I like it. That's good.